is another idea I had. Now I know what you're saying, but you already have an idea of Toilet Paper Island. I know this is a bit ambitious, but I am going to be doing a Pokemon What If series. Now then, probably wondering, what am I making a what if about? Well, I feel like it's of an idea that I'm not sure many people had. Now then, a lot of people, I'm pretty sure even you at some point have wondered, what if Ash had like a mono type team? A lot of people have thrown out ideas like dragon, water, some things like that. But I feel like a lot of people are forgetting the most obvious choice. That's electric type. And like I feel like and like with a character like Ash, it would take a lot of convincing for him to just stick to one type of Pokemon. Because, Ash loves all types of Pokemon. Now then, you're probably wondering how I'm gonna do this. Am I just gonna, give Ash a mindset where he wants to be like an electric type gym leader or like champion, or hell, just have him meet, or just have like Lieutenant Surge be like his dad or something? No, I'm not gonna do that because that would be boring, and I also want to keep Ash's character the same. So here's how I'm gonna do this. And I'll start off with where it all begins. Episode 1, I Choose You. By the way, I'm going to go through episodes 1 through 4 for this starting episode just to test the waters. Now, episode 1 of Pokemon will literally be the same. Like, barely any changes. But I'll give you guys a brief summary. We start off in the room of our favorite knuckle-headed 10-year-old protagonist, who at this point I am just sure is immortal at this point, since he's been 10 for like 25 years, maybe even more, I don't know. But that's besides the point. Ash Ketchum, who was watching a battle between a Nidorino and a Gengar. Oh man, this is so awesome! Man, I can't wait to become a trainer. I'll become the very best. He then grabs his Pokeball shaped alarm clock. Like no one ever was! But then his mother comes in the room, and with a shout, which causes him to freak out and accidentally throw the ball. But that causes her to catch it, and Pidgey Cuckoo Clock goes toot 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 toot, while she gives her son a exasperated expression. Dear, it's late. You need to get ready for bed. You don't want to miss your chances at getting a Pokemon tomorrow. I know, Mom, but I'm just so excited. Maybe I'll get Charmander, or maybe Squirtle. Then again, Bulbasaur would be cool too. I'm not sure which one to choose. Well, whichever one you get, I hope you become a good trainer. Yeah, who knows? Maybe Ash's eyes become a bit sad when he says this next part, as he mumbles out, maybe I can be like Dad. Hearing this, Delia gets a bit of a sad expression, knowing how much her son misses his father, as she kneels down in front of him. Hey, I told you, he's just gone for a while. Mom, he's been gone since I was 5. I and I haven't even heard from him for years. I I know. Uh, don't think about it like that, alright? I gotta go. Just go to bed, okay? Okay, Mom. Yeah, so one of the changes I decided to make, I'm giving Ash a bit of, well, not necessarily daddy issues, just, okay, what else would you call it? Of course, these are daddy issues. Because, I mean, think about it like this. Have we ever seen Ash's dad throughout the entirety of the series? No? That's what I thought. And I have an idea on who I'm gonna make Ash's dad. It'll be pretty obvious, but I'm gonna keep it a secret for now because I'm just like that. Okay, so Ash, like canon, goes to bed, but has a very vivid dream. And like most of you would probably think this is the dream about how it probably his starter choices, you know? But that still goes the same. But during the point where he throws the alarm clock, he does get a flash of an electric, some type of giant bird. It was yellow with very spiky feathers. The next day, he woke up from this sudden appearance of the bird as he was breathing heavily while clenching his head. What the heck was that? Was that a Pokemon? It wasn't anything I've ever seen. Oh well. Uh, Wait a minute. He looks to the ground as he sees his alarm clock basically just broken. As he blinks multiple times and then immediately gets up and then begins bolting out of the house. Oh God, I'm late! He yelled out as he ran out the door, which Delia saw as she was going to say he was going to forget something, but then she sighed. That boy. Anytime he realizes he's missing an important event, he always was running off. But she then has a fond smile, but it was a sad one. He really is like you, dear. If only you could see him. Ash began running down the street, but then he ends up running into someone as he rubs his head. He then sees a crowd around the lab, which got him a bit actually really annoyed. Hey, guys, I'm trying to get to the lab. One of the guys has turned to him as he chuckles, saying, "Oh, if it isn't useless Ash." Oh, it's you guys. Yeah, so honestly, one of the things that I've always found weird about that I found like should be touched up on Pokemon is how the other townsfolk really view Ash. Cause like we all know basically the entire town, most of the entire town worships the absolute hell out of Gary. But we don't exactly know how most of them view Ash. The only ones we do know well, the only ones whose views we do know on the 10-year-old kid are Gary, Professor Oak, and Delia. We don't necessarily know the other thoughts of the residents, especially kids or people around Ash's age. The boys and girls that were surrounding the lab slightly chuckle. Well, it looks like someone woke up on the wrong side of the bed, one of the girls said with a bit of a chuckle. But it was a mocking chuckle. This caused Ash to grit his teeth. At least I don't look like a fake doll. This caused the girl to gasp and clench her heart. How how barbaric. This is why Gary is so much better than you. Grr. Can you just get out of my way? I gotta get to the lab. Well, too late, Ashy boy. There was that familiar nickname that he hated all so much as he gritted his teeth, turned around, and yelled out, Gary! Yep, right in front of him was his childhood rival slash ex-friend, Gary Oak. And right behind him was his cavalcade of cheerleaders. Well, it's been a while, Ashy boy. Too bad you're kinda late. What do you mean? Well, I just so happened to get the last Pokemon. Huh? You. What Pokemon did you get? Well, I tell you, but. What the heck. I might as well at least show you. Gary throws his Pokeball in the air, and out comes out a Squirtle with a smug smirk, just as smug as him, as he, as Ash had his jaw completely drop, as that was the first Pokemon he thought about picking as his head slumped. But then he quickly shook it off. Whatever. That just means Charmander and Bulbasaur are still available. Alright, you better hurry though. I will. He then began running into the lab as Gary chuckled. Just wait till he sees. Just wait till he sees he's nothing but disappointment. Ash began running, and I mean running, to the lab as fast as he humanly could. And after a while, he finally makes it. But just as he opens the door, his heart completely. He sees another one of his childhood friends, Leaf, as she was currently. Holding a Bulbasaur, who he interpreted as her starter as she turned to Ash, but then her eyes widened as she had a guilty look, which got Ash confused. Oh, Leaf, I didn't think you'd actually be here today. I thought you'd be gone a bit earlier. Yeah, um, Mom needed some help, so I stayed for a bit, she said while averting her eyes away from him, too ashamed to look, as he had a confused expression. What's with that look? You should be happy. Besides, that Bulbasaur of yours looks really healthy. And cool, too! The way he was being so happy about this just made her heart ache more. As Professor Oak cleared his throat. Ah, you. Ah, Ash, it's good to see you. Well, I hope you're ready to pick out your starter. Yes. He looks at all the Pokeballs, noting the fact that Gary chose Squirtle, Leaf chose Bulbasaur. So then he gets a big grin. Alright, that means I get Charmander! However, when he opens the Pokeball, it was empty, as his jaw was completely dropped. What? What? But I. Well, sadly, the early bird got the worm. I. I can't believe this. I. Well, this is what. Well, I guess this is what happens when you sleep in late. That's when he. You see, Charmander was actually the very first Pokemon that was chosen, as this left Ash completely shocked. As then he realized that Gary did not mention this part at all, meaning he just set him up for failure. As he looked to Leaf as she was sad at this, sad at seeing her childhood friend and, well, someone she sees more as a childhood friend, in such a state, as she quietly says, I'm so sorry. As he takes out a shaky breath and stands up, and looks at the professor with desperate eyes. Come on, there has to be something, right? The professor looks at the kid for a moment. Truthfully, Oak is sad about this. He's always seen Ash as a bit of a grandson to him, a second grandson. And Delia was his lab assistant, and he does owe her this much, and he doesn't know how sad she would be seeing her boy in this state. But then he remembers something. He remembers a Pokemon he found in the wild a few months ago. It was around the time where he was investigating doing some type of poaching scandal of a bunch of Kangaskhan, and this Pokemon just growling at him. He knows it's risky, but when he looks at Ash, he sees the determination in his eyes as he sighs and relents. Okay, I give in. Alright, I'll give you a Pokemon. But I should tell you, this Pokemon is a lot more different than you think. Okay, before any of you guys ask, I feel like I should mention who Leaf in this story would be. Obviously, Leaf is the female protagonist that was introduced in Pokemon on Fire Red and Leaf Green. But in this story, she is Gary's twin sister. Yeah, that's right. I'm giving Gary a twin in this. And she also does have a bit of a crush on Ash, but he does she doesn't really know how to express it. That'll be said more along the lines, but just keep that in mind. Ash, when he heard that he had another Pokemon, his eyes lit up as he said, "I'll take anything. I don't care if it's a Caterpie. I don't care if it's a Weedle. I don't care if it's a Pidgey. I'll take anything you give me." Well, all right then. I should let you know though, this Pokemon is a lot more rarer than the ones you've mentioned. He presses a button on one of the panels as Leaf curiously stepped forward, still holding Bulbasaur in her arms, who's also looking curiously at the panel. Ash, however, was just beaming with excitement as he looked at the panel rise up, as he saw a Pokeball with some type of lightning bolt symbol on it. He was sort of confused, but he didn't acknowledge it as the professor held up the Pokeball. This Pokemon has very untrustworthy tendencies when it comes to humans. I want you to keep that in mind when you see him. All right, Professor, I'll keep that in mind, Ash said with nothing but enthusiasm. As the professor then nodded with a stern expression, as he then let out the Pokemon. What came out was a yellow mouse-like Pokemon with a lightning bolt-like tail, as well as red cheeks. As as Ash looked down at him with utter awe and also complete shock. What was in front of him was a Pikachu, a Pokemon that he was actually kind of familiar with. As he then said, "A a Pikachu?" The Pikachu's ears sort of twitched a bit as it looked around, seeing at least three humans, which caused it to growl. But then it looked at the human that was really close to him, and it began growling a lot. What? Amazing. I. Hi, I'm Ash. Um, it's nice to meet you. This Pokemon is known as Pikachu. Yeah, I know that, Professor. Uh, Hi, little guy. Pikachu looked at the boy. He really did not care for him as he just turned his head away. As this confused Ash as he gently picked it up. "Hey there, little guy. I can't wait to be such good friends with you." However, this caused Oak to panic. "Wait, Ash, don't! It'll. But it was too late as Pikachu growled and let out a loud Pika! And used Thunder Shock on Ash with a good amount of volts, which caused him to yell out and blow out a puff of smoke. Wow, that was shocking. I tried to warn you. Like I said, this Pikachu is very untrustworthy to humans. You have to keep that in mind. He let go of Pikachu, who then turned his head away, as Ash then shook his head. Okay, I got my work cut out for me. But it's whatever. I'll still take on the challenge, even if my starter doesn't like me at first. This declaration caused Leaf to smile. There you are, Ash. The same boy with determination that I. No, don't say it. Don't say it. Bulbasaur sort of heard this, but she didn't really acknowledge it, as she was too busy snuggling into Leaf's arms. Well, Ash, I'm very proud of that you got a starter. Yeah, me too. Even if he is a bit. He sort of looks at Pikachu with a bit of a sweat drop as he still was looking at him defiantly. Difficult. But I'll make it work. I should probably get going. I promised my brother I would go on the journey with him. Really? That's awesome, Leaf. Oh, by the way, have you figured out what you wanted to do yet? Yeah, actually, I plan on completing the Pokedex of the Kanto region. Really? That's awesome! Oh, it's. She blushed furiously at him calling her awesome. It's really nothing. Really, it's nothing at all. Yep, nothing at all. She chuckled nervously as she basically slinked out the lab, while Oak shook his head with a knowing smirk. Well, not smirk, smile, as he can't help but quietly say, "Ah, young love." Pikachu was walking beside Ash defiantly, still not exactly liking him. As Ash looked down at him. If only. I wonder. I really hope things between us get better. Pikachu let out a scoff like chew as Ash got even more downtrodden. What kind of event caused Pikachu to close himself off from humans? Oh well, I'll probably figure it out. As Ash and Pikachu would finally step out the lab, he finds his mom waiting outside with a warm smile. I knew you would forget something, so I brought your bag and clothes. Huh? He then looked down, realizing he was still in his green pajamas as he was blushing out of embarrassment. Uh, oh, I, oh, wow, I really did not even notice, honestly. Thanks, Mom. He then went back inside and put on his clothes, which was his usual outfit from the anime. You know, oh, jacket, black shirt, jeans, sneakers, the signature cap. But the origins of his cap, I'm gonna make it a bit different. His cap came from his father that was given to him, and he basically sees it as like a family heirloom. Well, not really an heirloom, just a piece of good luck. And also, at least some semblance of his dad being with him, as he puts the hat back on. Delia then noticed Pikachu right next to him as she had a bit of a raised eyebrow. Oh, is this your starter? Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is Pikachu. Chew. Oh, a bit feisty, isn't he? Yeah, I'm still working on that. Anyways, she hands him his bag. I gave you a change of clothes, traveling gear, and Mom, I already know where this is going, please. I already know you packed a lot of stuff in here. Just wanting to make sure. By the way, why isn't Pikachu in his Pokeball? Ash then blinked twice, realizing he should probably do that. As he then held out Pikachu's Pokeball and tossed it to him, but Pikachu then immediately smacked the Pokeball away back in his face. Ow! Oh, that's interesting. Okay, what the heck was that for? Chew! He then curled up into a ball, trying to signify how cramped it would be, as Ash then placed a hand under his chin, trying to figure out what he's trying to say. Okay, you're curling up into a ball. Dear, I think he's saying that he finds Pokeballs cramped. Oh, okay. That makes sense actually. I guess I guess all right. I can work with this then. Ash then decides to go to the first route, as he then sees a bunch of people cheering on Leaf and Gary. But as soon as he walks in, there were a bunch of boos saying, "You stink." God, why is that kid even trying? He'll just solely Blue and Leaf's Gr- Gary and Leaf's reputation if he joins on, if he gets in on all of this. Gary sort of turned back to him with a surprised expression. Well, 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 Ashy boy. I thought my twin sister was just having another one of her trying to defend you moments when she said you got a Pokemon. But, but I guess I was wrong. This caused Leaf to give her twin brother a disapproving look as she said, can you not be such a jerk to him? Grr. Well, listen here, Gary. He did get a Pokemon. Say hello to Pikachu. Where is he? What do you mean? Uh Pikachu Pikachu? Where are you? This caused Leaf to get a worried look. Ash, did you put Pikachu in his Pokeball? No. Why would I do? No. Pikachu conveyed that he didn't like being in his Pokeball. This caused everybody, well, of course except for Leaf, to freaking cackle at him, which got him a confused expression. What the heck is so funny? Ashy boy, you really are a knucklehead. Every trainer knows that you can't just let a Pokemon run free. They'll most likely just run away. Well, listen here, pal. I want to listen to my Pokemon. And if they don't want to be in their Pokeball, they don't want to be in their Pokeball. Whatever. That just sounds like bad training to me. Can you just leave him alone, Gary? Oh, sorry. I don't want to embarrass you in front of your boy. However, before he even finished that sentence, Leaf covered his mouth, shushing him harshly. But Ash had a confused expression. My, her boy, what? Uh, Nothing. He's just being an idiot. She said while giving her brother a annoyed look, which caused him to smirk. Fine, I won't say anything for now. But listen here, Ashy boy. If you can't even get your first Pokemon to listen to you, I suggest you should just give up on day one. This caused Ash to grit his teeth. Whatever. I'll be back. I just gotta get him. Ash then ran off, causing more of the people of the town to mock and belittle him, which got Leaf frustrated and sad. As she thinks to herself, he did nothing wrong for this. Treatment. Oh, Ash. I am actually, by doing this, I'm realizing how Naruto coded I'm making Ash. Then again, Ash came before Naruto, so you know what? Never mind. Let's get back to the story. Ash, Ash went around the town trying to look for Pikachu. Come on, where are you, Pikachu? He then heard something in the trees as Pikachu was just laying in a tree as he then sighed. Hey, buddy, I said we were going. Pikachu then looked down at his so-called trainer. He's not sure whether to call him that or not. Because honestly, he refuses to call any human a trainer. But Pikachu then rolled his eyes and then came down from the tree, letting out an irritated Pika. Look, I really want to start this journey with you, alright? And I really do want to be your friend. Pikachu then just simply turns his head. Alright, I really did not want to do this. He then goes in his bag and pulls out rubber gloves and a towing line. As a few minutes later, he was basically dragging Pikachu by a leash, which had the electric mouse Pokemon none too pleased as he was being dragged. As Ash looked back and had an apologetic look as he sighed, realizing this is just stupid. As he then untied Pikachu, who immediately backed away, growling. Look, I'm sorry, alright? I'm just excited. And I really do want to be your friend. I've wanted to be a trainer since I was a kid. But but I really want you to give me a chance, alright? Pikachu looked at his trainer for a moment, contemplating a bit before slightly relenting, but definitely not giving him the time of day. Which caused Ash to take a bit of a sigh, but he doesn't really care, as this was the most progress he's made so far. So, there they go. Ash and Pikachu are on the way of their journey. Ash then spots a Pidgey pecking at the ground as he got a grin on his face. As, well, certain events still happen. Ash goes into his bag and pulls out a Pokeball, and then throws the Pokeball at the Pidgey, which hits it, but it doesn't really work, which causes Ash to get confused. What the? I thought. Then the Pokedex blared up, saying, To catch a Pokemon, you have to weaken it first, stupid. Okay, was that really necessary? Okay, was that really necessary? Fine. If I have to weaken it first, I guess I'll start off. Ah! Pikachu! Go! Pikachu? He then looked to see Pikachu laying in a tree again, as his eye was sort of twitching. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Pikachu! Come on! I want you to battle! Pikachu then yawned and then turned away, which caused Ash to get visibly annoyed. So, he decides to just, you know what? You know what? I'll just do it myself. He then grabs one of his shirts from his bag and then slowly began creeping up to the Pidgey, who then looked back at him curiously. Hey, little guy, I'm just going to. He then dove at the Pidgey, trying to cover it with the shirt, which caused the Pidgey to panic and shoot a gust and sand attack at him that caused him to get blown away. And then it flew off, which caused Ash to get discouraged, as Pikachu was just laughing hysterically. As then he gave Pikachu an annoyed look. You know that would have gone better if you just helped me. Pikachu then and shook his head as then it began kept laughing as he then grumbled a lot. He then noticed something that he perceives as a Pidgey at first in the grass as he picks up a rock and begins tossing it in the air. Fine. Alright, I guess I'll just continue being my own Pokemon. Alright then. Here we go! He tosses the the rock with good form, as he does hit what he perceived as a Pidgey on the head, giving it a bump. Then Ash looks closely as his heart immediately stops as he sees the Pokemon he just hit, as the Pokedex then said, Spearow, a very territorial Pokemon. Oh no. Spearow then noticed Ash and then noticed Pikachu, as it then let out an irate squawk as it then flew toward Pikachu, which caused Pikachu to get annoyed and then launch a thunder shock at it, completely frying it. Then, like in the original, it calls forth a bunch of Spearow, which caused both Ash and Pikachu to stare at the Spearow flock with utter fear. Pikachu, I know we don't like each other, but I feel like you can agree with me when I say this. Run! Pikachu did not even bother to disagree with his trainer, as he was thinking the exact same goddamn thing, as he bolted off as Ash ran after him. Pikachu pulled ahead of Ash as he was struggling to keep up. Pikachu, wait! Pikachu didn't exactly look back. He still didn't trust Ash. He still didn't like Ash, honestly. Sure, he was funny and an idiot, but that's all he was, a guy to make him laugh. He didn't trust trainers. But then the Spearow flock began pecking at him, as then Ash picked him up when he was getting a little too weak, which caused Pikachu to look at him slightly surprised. So, leave Pikachu alone! I threw the damn rock! Pikachu was shocked at Ash's selflessness. He was protecting him despite the way he's been acting. This human, he was weird. Pikachu's never seen a human like him before. Ash then noticed a waterfall, as he then began contemplating, looking back at the Spearow flock, then at the waterfall. Well, beggars can't be choosers, I guess! Ash then dove down into the water with Pikachu clenched in his arms. As he lands in the water, we then shift perspectives to a red-haired girl, as she was just sitting down bored while her fishing rod was in the water. Ugh, I still haven't gotten a stupid bite yet. Are there even any water Pokemon in this water, or was that fisherman just screwing with me? Suddenly, she feels a tug on her line. Wait, I got something! Oh, and by the feels of it, this is a whopper! She then tugged the fishing line hard, as what came out wasn't a very big, majestic water Pokemon, but a kid. Ash had a disappointed expression. Oh, come on, it's just a kid? Wait, and a Pokemon. Ash then sat up groggily as he had Pikachu in his arms. He looked visibly bruised. Ugh. Hey, are you okay? Said the red-haired girl who was standing in front of him now. Yeah, I'm. But then he felt a firm, stinging smack to his face as he looked at the red-haired girl with complete surprise and confusion. What the heck was that for? I was talking to your I was talking about your Pokemon, not you, you idiot. How could you let it get hurt like that? Ash was beyond annoyed at this girl. He was getting hunted down by a bunch of murderous Spearow, and she thinks he did this to Pikachu? He had no time for this girl's nonsense. Okay, look, I have no time for this. Do you know where Viridian City is? Ugh, well, if you must know, it's down the road right there. God, you're a moron if you don't know that basic knowledge. Oh god. Oh god. I know it. Ugh, you're really starting to annoy me. However, before Ash could rebuttal more, he noticed the Spearow flock as his eyes widened with shock. Oh crap. He then noticed a bike, as he was then contemplating. I gotta go. I need this. He then got on his bike, which caused the girl to look surprised. Hey, you can't take that. That's my bike. I'll give it back to you later. He then put Pikachu in the basket area as he then began riding off. Hey, you can't just let's do that. But then she noticed a storm coming as she then growled and went to find cover. When I find that kid, I'm gonna kill him. The Spearow flock began chasing this, but this didn't cause her to see. But this had caused her to not see the Spearow flock that was visibly chasing them. You see, in the original, I did not know. I didn't really think it made sense that Misty was kind of mad at Ash for frying her bike. Sure, yeah, it would make sense, but she probably could have seen the Spearow at some point. So I decided to add this little detail so that that detail makes a lot more sense. Ash was riding furiously on the bike, trying to get Pikachu far away as possible, as Pikachu kept looking up at his trainer. He didn't know what to feel right now. For most of the time, he's just saw his trainer as an idiot. But here, he's seeing someone so selfless enough to help him. This caused Pikachu to rethink his views on all humans. Not completely yet, but sort of. However, Ash hit a hill, causing him to fall over with Pikachu, as he then grunted, Pikachu! He then saw the Spearow flock getting closer, as it was raining, as he looked at Pikachu and closed his eyes. I have no choice. He then went into his pocket and pulled out the forbidden device, the Pokeball, as he set it in front of Pikachu. As Pikachu looked at him in shock. Get in the Pokeball. I I want you to be safe. But Pika? He then stood up as he opened his arms wide in front of the Spearow. Spearow! Do you know who I am? I am Ash Ketchum from Pallet Town, a trainer who swore to become a Pokemon Master. I'll catch and defeat all of you! Do you hear me? Pikachu looked at his trainer in complete shock, as there was only one thing on his mind. This was the human he was searching for. A human who's selfless, kind, determined to do anything. And he wasn't about to just leave his side. The Spearow then squawked at him as they then began diving toward him. But then Ash felt something on his shoulder. as Pikachu used him as a springboard and launched himself upward, as a lightning strike struck him, as Pikachu let out a very loud "Chew!" as he then let out a powerful thunder shock, completely engulfing the Spearow, causing them to go flop on the ground, defeated. After a while, when the clouds clear, Pikachu and Ash were staring at each other, as then they both had a sense of relief. As Ash looked at him, "I'm sorry, Pikachu, that was amazing." Sure. Ash then looked at him as, "You know, electric types are really cool. You're really cool. I really want to be your friend, Pikachu." Pika. Pikachu then slightly licked Ash's cheek. "Does this mean you..." Pikachu nodded, signifying that he accepted Ash, as Ash then smiled and hugged Pikachu. But then the both of them looked up, and their eyes widened with shock as they see a rainbow, but then they see a majestic sort of Pokemon fly over the rainbow, as the two of them were just mesmerized by it. As the Pokedex then blared up, "No data! No data!" Whoa, what is that? It's so cool. But then Pikachu collapsed as Ash got panicked. "Shoot!" And then Ash picked Pikachu up and began running toward Viridian City, where we go to the next episode. Right now, this is Ash's team. Yeah, obviously, his fascination for electric types would start off in the first episode, where Ash would catch Pikachu. I mean, why wouldn't it? It makes the most sense for this to happen, for this type of idea to happen when Ash has, starts off with Pikachu in the first episode. I mean, it only makes sense when you really think about it. But enough about that. Let's get to the next episode. After all, I did say that we were going through episodes 1 through 4, right? And if you're wondering why specifically 1 through 4, I don't know. I don't know. Mainly because I don't want to get to the gyms yet, and also because, well, I want to get certain episodes out the way. Next episode, Pokemon Emergency. Jenny was on patrol was currently on duty looking for specific criminals who we all know, but, well, let's just pretend we don't know, for mysticism. God, using the term mysticism for these guys is weird, honestly. But you get the gist. However, as she was looking for these criminals, she then noticed a boy running with a Pikachu in his arms, as she did get a bit suspicious, as she then and grabbed his shoulder. "What the? Excuse me, kid, but what are you doing with that Pikachu?" "Huh? I'm looking for a Pokemon Center." "Uh-huh. If that's the case, why is it your Pikachu in its Pokeball?" She says, getting a bit more suspicious. "Look, alright? I'm not the type of thief or anything. Pikachu just doesn't like being in its Pokeball." She then looked at him closer and noticed something in his pocket. "Wait, is that..." "It is!" "Huh?" She then grabbed the Pokedex from his pocket, which caused him to say, "Wait, don't take that! A Pokedex! Now this proves you're an actual trainer. Sorry for suspecting you. It's fine, I guess?" Anyways, enough about that. do you know where the Pokemon Center is? I do, and I'll do you one better as well. Not only can I show you where the center is, I can also bring you there. Really? That'd be nice. Thank you. I really need to get Pikachu some help. Jenny then nodded as he then got into the sidecar. As Jenny then began speeding through, Ash looked down at Pikachu, who was breathing softly, as he then said, "Come on, be okay, be okay." As they went to the Pokemon, as they arrived at the center, Ash noticed that Jenny wasn't stopping, as he then realized that but then the doors opened as she skidded in. This is a Nurse Joy. You know we have parking lots, right? Well, yes, but this is a Pokemon emergency. What the? Oh boy. Please get this Pikachu into Chansey. Please bring this Pikachu to a stretcher. After a while, Ash was sitting in the common area as he was fidgeting, getting more and more worried. As Nurse Joy came out of the ER area as he ran toward her. Nurse Joy, is Pikachu okay? Your Pikachu is fine, but you need to be more careful. Having your Pikachu in such a state like that could have gotten it hurt. I I know. But when she sees the bruises on him, her gaze softens. I think I get what happened. You got attacked by the Spearow, didn't you? Huh? How did you? We've had a number of attacks like like that recently. It's nothing new. Just be be more careful, please. Okay? Yeah. Thank you. She then went back to her work as he then sat down. He then looked back at the powerful electric attack that Pikachu gave off as he was sort of contemplating. Maybe, but I love all Pokemon, but should I consider it? I don't know. However, he then looks to the phones as he then decides to give his mom a call. His mom was on the phone and she was pretty worried for her son after hearing what happened to him and from him himself. But she reassured him that he's fine, sort of. But then a question came out of his mouth that he wasn't expecting himself. How would you feel if I became a type specialist? Delia was sort of surprised at this. A type specialist? This got Ash then to backpedal. Sorry, no, son, you don't have to backpedal. Is something on your mind? Ash was quiet for a moment, as he was still contemplative. I don't know. After that Spearow attack, and seeing Pikachu's electrical power, I've been, for most of the time, not only have I been thinking about Pikachu's health, but, well, I want to be a Pokemon Master still, but I also really want to try to be an electric type trainer. After seeing Pikachu out there, I realized just how cool and awesome electric types are. And I want to try to do that. Delia looked at her son with a bit of surprise, but she got a warm smile. Well, I guess if this is what you want, I won't stop you. Thanks, Mom. Just be sure to be safe, alright? And don't forget to change your underwear. This caused Ash to blush with embarrassment. Mom, I'm in a public area. You know, I had to say that. He kind of grumbled as he hung up. My mom, what a mom. But he then got a warm smile. She's my mom. He then wondered if Leaf or Gary were around, as he noticed that they weren't really there, as he sighed. Knowing Gary, he's probably already gone by now with the bunches of cheerleaders following him. As for Leaf, she probably left early too. I really wanted to see her too. I wanted to show her my. But then he paused. Who am I kidding? I made no progress. Kidding, I made no progress. I lost. I knew Pikachu got hurt trying to protect me from a bunch of Spearow. How can I call that progress? I think I call it a backpedal, honestly. He then decided to call Professor Oak. As well, the same conversation happens in canon. I'm not going to go too much into detail of this, but I will go into detail on the part where he mentions the rainbow Pokemon, as Professor Oak does a bit of a spit take. Where did you get that picture? Um, I saw it fly over a rainbow, and the Pokedex captured the picture. Do do you know how many people have been trying to find that Pokemon? Literal thousands of researchers have been trying to find that Pokemon for decades. Ash then blinked with surprise. It's really that rare? Yes. I'm gonna need a picture of that, but I will do some research. Thorough research. I'll see you soon. Professor Oak then hung up. This caused Ash to blink with surprise. Weird. But then. You! He then froze as he turned to the girl, who he then turned to the voice, which was very, very angry, as then he saw the familiar red haired girl holding a charbroiled bike. As he then blinked. What the heck happened to your bike? She then looked at him in disbelief. Are you serious? You happened to my bike, you little twerp! He then remembered how big the electrical blast from Pikachu was, as his sweat dropped. In my defense, I wasn't trying to. You're buying me a new bike. Hold on, that really isn't necessary. Look, I don't want any more excuses. You are buying me a new bike! This then got him even more irritated. Look, it's just a stupid bike, okay? Hey, why is it so important? Do you know how irritating it is to walk everywhere? You have feet, that's what they're for. Ugh, you're really getting me annoyed. However, suddenly the lights began to flicker, which caused both of them to free, which However, then the stretcher came out, which caused both of them to pause their argument, as he then began running toward the stretcher. The girl wanted to protest, but she saw the Pikachu on the stretcher, and her gaze sort of softens, as she then grumbles, why did, why did the guy that destroyed my bike have to have an injured Pokemon? Now I'm gonna look like a jerk for yelling at him. Pikachu, are you okay? It let out a weak cha as it then nuzzled into Ash's hand. It'll still be a few days until it's fully recovered, but your Pikachu will be alright. I hope you're right. Misty then walked over. Is it gonna be alright? Um, yeah. I noticed that it was incredibly injured when you first fell in. How the heck did you let it get so injured? Ash was hesitant for a moment, as this girl has done nothing but yell at him, but he does explain. Up to the point where the Spearow attack happened and everything else. This then caused her to berate him. You need to take better care of your Pokemon, and you did something super reckless. I don't care if your Pikachu wasn't listening to you. It was a really stupid idea to throw a rock at any Pokemon. should be ashamed to call yourself a trainer. This caused Ash to bristle as he said, "Tell me something I don't know." Wait, what did you just say? Tell me something I don't know! This caused Misty to This caused the girl to freeze with shock, as he then covered his mouth. Why the hell did I say that? It- what the heck was that about? It's nothing. It really is nothing, okay? Just drop it. Misty then looked at Ash for a moment. She didn't know how to go about this now. My name's Misty. Huh? My name, it's Misty. Oh, Ash. It's nice to meet you, I guess. The two of them just stood there awkwardly for a moment, not knowing how to continue the conversation. But then, suddenly, the glass to the ceiling breaks as two Pokeballs fly out as smoke billows out. As then, a coughing and Ekans show up, which caused Ash to look at them in shock while Misty, he gets guarded. What the heck? What's going on? As then, we hear the very familiar motto that we all know and sometimes get sick of. Prepare for trouble! Make it double. To protect the world from devastation. To, to unite all peoples within our nation. To denounce the evils of truth and love. To extend our reach to the stars above. Jesse! James! Team Rocket blasts off to the speed of light. Surrender now or prepare to fight. Meowth, that's right! Ash then yelled out, "Did that Meowth just talk?" Well, you may look dumb and act dumb, but you actually have actual knowledge. Okay, I did not just get roasted by a Pokemon. You did, and it happened. So, hand over all of your Pokemon at once. Yeah, otherwise people will get hurt. 'Cause we are a part of Team Rocket. Team Rocket? Misty then heard, Team Rocket? I've heard of them before. They're a crime organization that specializes in stealing Pokemon, but they're very secretive. What the? Steal Pokemon? He then looked at Pikachu and threw his arms around it. You're not taking Pikachu! Like we'd want that electric rat. We're here for strong, rare Pokemon. Exactly. And we know the Pokemon Center has a lot of them. Well, you'll be sorely mistaken, Norse Joy said with a firm expression. There's nothing but injured Pokemon here. Tisk, tisk, tisk. So naive, Nurse. There's always rare Pokemon here, so we'll just take them by force. Misty then pulled out a Pokeball. Over my dead body. Go! Staryu! Staryu then came out. Well, aren't you gonna help me? About that. Pikachu's my only Pokemon. Are you? Fine, I'll just do it myself. Misty then began battling the two crooks. The battle was very. Misty's Staryu was certainly more well trained than the two buffoons' Ekans and Coughing, but they did have the advantage in numbers, which caused Staryu to get overwhelmed. Nurse Joy then began Ash then began helping Nurse Joy transfer a bunch of Pokemon to the other Pokemon centers. As then, Misty was pushed back into the room with them as she began doing the same thing. But then the power went off, as then Ash said, "Oh no, the power!" Don't worry, we have our own Pika power. As then, a treadmill of Pikachus began circling around, causing electricity to build up. As Ash then looked at this, saying, electric Pokemon are really awesome. So awesome. This was sort of heard by Misty, who was sort of intrigued, but also a bit irritated, as she does have a bad experience with electric types. especially electric type specialists, especially a certain one. But she doesn't mention it and shakes it off. He's probably not even like him. As Ash then, as Ash then, as then Team Rocket then busts in. You twerps are really starting to annoy us. Just hand over the. Listen, twerps, just hand over the Pokemon and no one gets hurt. Well, actually, that's a lie. Someone is gonna get hurt. And that's yous, guyses. Yes, so I suggest you just cooperate. Like heck, we're gonna give you our Pokemon. Ash then began sweating, as then he notices the exhausted expression of Staryu. Misty, I think that Staryu is still a bit injured. Should probably give it some rest. I know that, but if I do that, then another Pokemon will be captured. Ash began sweating, knowing how much Misty is right about her statement. He then got an idea and grabbed her bike. As then a bunch of Pikachus began piling onto his Pikachu, which caused Team Rocket and Misty, as well as the Nurse Joy, to get confused. As then the Pikachus all used Thunder Shock on his Pikachu. Is the Twip seriously having his own Pikachu get shocked? This kid's a moron. Thoroughly. But then they realize, wait a minute. Ash's Pikachu was getting charged, but not only that, it was getting healed, as it then stood on top of the Pikachus. Pika! Get ready, Pikachu! 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 Use Thunder Shock! Pikachu then charged up a bunch of electricity, and with enough force, blasted Team Rocket off with a single Thunder Shock. Team Rocket's blasting off again! Yep, that's right! As then they all went blasting off. As Ash was panting and sat down. That actually worked, thank God. Misty looked at him with complete shock. Did that actually happen? Oh, wow, that was interesting, she said while covering her mouth slightly. As she looked at the hole in the roof as Ash rubbed the back of his head along with Pikachu. Cha. Sorry about that, Nurse Joy. No, it's fine. Really. Misty then walked to Ash. Honestly, that wasn't too bad. You're still a novice, but even I could admit when you did good. Ash then got a bit happy at that. The two of them then booked a room for tonight. But Ash found it hard to kind of sleep. After learning about Team Rocket, a dangerous organization, it had him feel a bit uneasy. People stealing Pokemon. However, he noticed that Pikachu was also still up, still also being barely able to sleep. Hey, buddy. I guess you also can't sleep, huh? Pikachu then looked to his trainer as he then said, Cha. Alright. He then got up. I think maybe if we go for a walk, we'll get our minds cleared. Pikachu nodded as he got on his trainer's shoulder. Ash and Pikachu began walking down the dark streets of Viridian City. As they began looking around, but then something catches both of their eyes. It looked like a brown fox-like Pokemon, as it had a very sad expression while sitting on a bench. Ash looked at the Pokemon with noticing its sad expression. What Pokemon is that? Eevee, the fox Pokemon. And Eevee. Ash then also notices that it had a collar on its neck. But then he also notices the very sad expression on her face. Pikachu notices this and got sad
as it reminded him of the face of, and as she kind of reminded him of what he used to look like when the events happened. I'm not going to go into too much detail yet, because you'll find out soon. Evie then looked up and saw Ash. When she did, she got defensive and began growling. Vi! Evie! Whoa, whoa, calm down. I'm not gonna hurt you. What are you doing alone? You have a collar, that must mean you have a trainer, right? Pikachu then winced a bit, as Ash noticed that, wondering what that was about, but then he sees that Eevee gets more sad. Oh, wait, are you? Eevee sadly nods. Oh, um, hey, are you cold? Eevee looked down, shivering a bit, as she nodded, but was still hesitant. Pikachu saw this, and he scrambled down from Ash's shoulder as he went to the bench in front of Eevee. We then go to Poke Talk. This is the area where the Pokemon are talking to each other, but I don't want to just make a bunch of noises for the next few minutes. So, here we go. You know, why don't you come with my trainer? Huh? I don't know. I can't. I can't. I can't. Please. I was like you too. Untrustworthy of humans. But when I met Ash, he made me realize not all humans are bad. Come on. I may not know your situation, but why not give him a chance? Evie looked hesitant as she said, Fine. Pikachu then got back on Ash's shoulder as he looked at him. What did she say? Pika, 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 Pikachu! Really? She agreed? Alright then, come here. Evie then hesitantly jumped off from the bench as slowly she walked toward Ash, as Ash bent down to gently pick her up. Being in Ash's arms, Evie felt warmth, kind, caring warmth that she hasn't felt in, well, ever, actually. Then, this overwhelming feeling of warmth, kindness, made her realize what she was missing from her old trainer as she began crying uncontrollably, which caused Ash to panic, as well as Pikachu. Whoa, no, no, no. Hey, hey, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. Why? 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 Evie buried her face into his chest as she began nuzzling into him, tears staining his shirt, but that wasn't really what was worrying him. What was worrying him was the way she was acting, just simple kindness. What did you go through? Ash looked around, wondering if anyone was nearby, but noticing nobody, he sighed as he then began walking. I should probably I should probably just to I'll bring you to the Pokemon Center with me. When he went inside, it was still dark. She's still holding a quietly sobbing Eevee and a Pikachu who was trying to comfort her. Alright, I'll just go to my room. Ash Ash went to his room, and Eevee finally stopped crying, but still had tear stains in her eyes. As Pikachu jumped off Ash's shoulder as he got on the bed, as Eevee hesitantly got on the bed as well, looking at him. Hey, you're safe now. In the morning, we'll help find your trainer. And if you're not, and if you don't want that, well, maybe you can join me. Eevee looked at him for a moment before looking down. It's just a suggestion. With that, Ash then lay down, closing his eyes to sleep. Pikachu was about to lay down as well, but he noticed Eevee looking out the window. I'm guessing you can't sleep well, huh? Yeah. Why exactly were you out there alone? You have a collar on, and it's clear you once had a trainer. Eevee looked down as she quietly said, My old trainer was really mean. He only cared about a Pokemon's strength, nothing more. I I was just dead weight to him, saying I was as just as useless. I feel pathetic. Hey, don't say that. Look, I've had bad experience with humans as well. What? What do you mean? Pikachu sort of looked down, as he said, before I was taken care of by a bunch. Well, back then I didn't really have any parents. Well, at least I think I don't, considering I didn't exactly have anyone near me when I hatched as a Pichu. Then how did you? I'll explain. Then I was adopted by these Kangaskhans. But then they were captured by these men in black suits. That caused me to get distrust in humans. And, well, that wasn't until I met Ash. He then began explaining the events of the first episode, as well as the second episode, which caused Eevee to look at him with complete surprise. You went through all of that, and he did all that for you? Yeah, honestly, Ash is an interesting person. I've never really seen him. I've never really seen any human go through such lengths for a Pokemon before. It's really cool. Eevee looked at him, and her cheeks sort of flushed a bit as she looked down. You're really kind for doing this, you know that? Pikachu's cheeks also slightly get red. Oh, thanks. Um, your collar says Eva. Oh, yeah, that's my old name. Do you want us to keep calling you Eva? I'd prefer that. Okay then. Well then, we should probably get to bed. Wait, as then, the two Pokemon went to sleep. Eevee feeling more and more comfortable with not only the trainer, but his starter Pokemon as well. And she feels a warmth in her heart when she talks to Pikachu. She doesn't know what it is yet, though. Morning finally hits, as Ash then got up along with Pikachu. Pikachu then nudged Eevee, who then also got up. Another day, another. Whew. Okay. Oh, Eevee, you're awake. Eevee, Pika! Alright then, let's go. Ash then came to the common room with Pikachu still on his shoulder, as he then noticed Misty. Oh, you're up. Thank God. I thought I was gonna wait forever. Wait, why are you waiting for me? Uh, duh. I'm going with you. Ash looked at her with complete surprise. Wait, what? Oh, I didn't mention this? I was gonna travel with you. As payment for as a form of payment for my bike. I, you really don't have to do that. Too late, I'm already doing it. Okay, alright, screw my idea then. But I guess it could be worse. She then noticed Eevee by him. When did you get an Eevee? Oh, I found her on a bench last night. She was sad, so I brought her with me. I was hoping that I could find her trainer in the Pokemon Center. Well, whatever. Just don't be late, alright? I gotta go. Misty then exits, as Ash was about to exit as well, but he then going to look for her Eevee's trainer, but then Eevee let out a yelp, as then he looked at her. Eevee? Ja? Boy, Evoy. Wait, what? Evoy, 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 Evoy! Pikachu's eyes then widened, as then he looked at Ash and began, Pika Pee, Pee. Wait, are you saying you want to... Evoy! She looked up at him with determination. Though she still had her sad eyes, there was determination in them. As Ash looked at her with surprise, as his eyes softened. If you're sure about this, I'm not going to stop you. Evoy! She let out with a firm belief. As Ashlyn smiled, grabbed a Pokeball. Alright then. If you're ready for this. Eevee then made a determined nod. As Ash threw the Pokeball as Eevee jumped in the air. A white light engulfs Eevee as she goes in the Pokeball. After a few swiggles, bing! Eevee was captured, as Ash went to the ground and picked up the Pokeball. As he got a massive grin, saying, "All right, I caught an Eevee! Choo-pee-cappy!" Pikachu said while holding up a peace sign, but he then also looked at the Pokeball with a smile, thinking to himself, "I'm glad you made a good choice, Eevee." Ash then held the Pokeball close to his chest. "I'll treat you with the most amount of respect I can. Count on it." Yeah, so there's not that many choices when it comes to electric types, so you really shouldn't be surprised that Eevee was the next one chosen. But I digress. I'm giving each Pokemon different personalities to differentiate themselves. Also, yeah, I'm doing the whole EVX Pikachu thing. Is that basic? Yes. Do I care? No. So, yeah. Next. Now, this next episode is gonna be interesting because, well, I mean, how the heck are you gonna. I mean, how would Ash even catch Caterpie? Also, the title wouldn't really make sense if they made Ash catch Eevee as his first catch. So I decided to do something interesting. Misty catches a bug? Episode 3, Misty catches a bug? Yeah, basically, the entire premise of this, just having Misty catch Caterpie. That is literally it. But how she catches it is going to be interesting. While Ash and Misty were walking around, he hears a shrill shriek as he notices Misty. He's screaming from a bug. "Get it away, get away, get away!" Misty, that's just a Caterpie. Pikachu then also had a confused expression. "I don't care, get it away!" She then bumped into a tree, causing a Pokeball to roll out. As Caterpie looked at it and looked at her, and giving a happy chirp, he bumped his head against the Pokeball, causing him to be captured. What the? And, well, the events of the episode are really going to be different. Misty really, really did not want to catch this Caterpie, to the point where she basically just wants him out of her life. "Look, will you just leave me alone? I don't care if I caught you. I don't want you near me." This caused Caterpie to get a sad expression, as he then crawled away and went back at his Pokeball. This got Ash mad. "Hey, I don't care if you have a fear of bugs. You shouldn't treat Caterpie like a pile of dirt." "Whatever, it's just a bug." Whatever. Just treat him with more respect, dang it. Throughout the day, Misty kept steering away from Caterpie, but, oh, she then began to feel bad, as it wasn't Caterpie's fault for her fear, and all he wants to be his friends. So, yeah, basically I'm replacing Ash with Misty. But then, they run into Team Rocket again. Also, I'm completely gearing into Pidgeotto. If I feel like they can go... Listen, when it comes to Ash's Pokemon, if I feel like they can go to her character, I'm gonna have them go to another character. Simple as that. But if I can't think of a character to give them to, well, then they just gotta kick rocks. They run into Team Rocket again. They give their motto. No, I'm not singing that twice. Are you kidding me? "Listen here, twerp. We came here for your Pikachu. But we also noticed you had such an adorable little Eevee. She'll look she'll look perfect in my collection. I'm not letting you take any of my Pokemon." So yeah, the events of the episodes are basically the same, with Misty commanding Caterpie to use String Shot, yada yada yada. Same thing, basically. And Caterpie evolves into Metapod. And this event would sort of help, actually, with Misty's fear of bugs. But that fear wouldn't be completely gone until the next episode. And the final episode of the day, Episode 4, Challenge of the Samurai. Well, yeah, honestly, I'm really interested. Yeah, I'm pretty sure all of you were interested in how I was going to do this one, seeing as certain events will have to be determined. But here's how I'm going to do this. Misty was walking around with Metapod in her arms. I guess I was wrong. I'm glad I befriended Caterpie. See? I told you it wouldn't be a bad idea. Missy smiled as she looked down at Metapod, who was rustling in her arms happily. Return, Metapod. She smiled as she returned Metapod. But then, as they were walking, Ash then noticed something in the air as he saw a glint. But then, there was a sword in his face as he then screamed, What the heck? You! Are you a trainer from Pallet Town? Uh, yes, I am. Perfect. That means you're the third trainer from Pallet I must defeat. What the heck are you talking about? See, there were two trainers from Pallet before, who I challenged, yet failed against. And seeing as you are the last, I'm assuming you're the runt that the trainer with the Squirtle mentioned. Who? Oh my god, you're talking about Gary, aren't you? Okay. But fine, if it's a battle you want, I'll battle you. Fine, but keep your voice down. You'll attract Beedrill. Yeah, whatever. Sound like I'm the one who pointed the damn sword in the face. Are we really doing this? Yes, since this guy challenged me, I'm gonna battle him. So the two of them square off in a battle. Pikachu was sitting on a hill right behind Ash, ready to battle at any point. Ash was contemplating who to go for. He could go for Pikachu, but he really does want to test out his bond with Eevee. So, go Eevee! Eevee comes out her Pokeball, a bit nervous as she looked at the intimidating samurai, but then when she saw Ash, she got a bit more comfortable, as she wondered what was happening. Hey Eevee, this is going to be our very first official battle against a trainer. Are you ready? Eevee was sort of nervous. She doesn't have that much battle experience despite having been paired up with a trainer, but she does get a determined look. It's a little small, but whatever. Go, Pinsir! This hulking behemoth of a bug comes out, which causes Ash to look at it in shock, and Misty to full-on shiver in fear. Okay, I know I'm used to Metapod, but that's pushing it. Eevee was terrified of the giant bug. Don't worry, Eevee, we're behind your back. Pika! The combined encouragement from the two of them does get Eevee to calm down a bit. Let's see if your puny Eevee can handle my mighty Pinsir! Pinsir! Tackle it! Pinsir went to ram Eevee with a shoulder charge, which Eevee dodged and used tackle! Eevee jumped in the air from the slower Pokemon as it dove down with a tackle. Rookie move! Vice Grip! Pinsir clamps Eevee and its pincers as he begins squeezing hard, which caused Eevee to scream in pain. Hey, Eevee! Eevee began screaming more and more, and he began crying. Pathetic! A Pokemon that can barely handle a move like Vice Grip Hip is pathetic! Shut up! I forfeit this match! Pinsir, release Eevee! Pinsir releases Eevee, who just slumps to the ground, crying. Ash picks up Eevee, who is still crying in his arms. You should really reconsider your Pokemon choices. Misty got annoyed at that statement. This guy's a jerk. However, Ash was also angry. Shut up! You don't know how Eevee's like. It's okay, Eevee. It was completely foolish of you to use such a Pokemon in a battle. You should be ashamed of yourself to call yourself a trainer. However, there was one person who was more angry than everyone else, and that was Pikachu. How dare this guy not only make his teammate cry, but also have the audacity to berate Ash for his choices. He had enough, as Pikachu jumped onto the field with an angry and determined expression, as it then began growling and baring its teeth. So this is your next Pokemon, huh? Pikachu, are you sure about this? Pika! Alright then. Pikachu, quick attack! Pikachu then blitzed forward toward Pinsir, as it then tried to use Vice Grip again. But then Pikachu blitzed out the way. What the? Pikachu! Thundershock! Pikachu! Pikachu then does an above air Thundershock, which completely charbroils Pinsir, as it then falls to the ground, and Pikachu lands on its stomach with a fierce look, as it then jumped back off. Whatever. It is nothing special. Go Metapod! Pikachu! Quick attack! And with a single quick attack, Metapod is down. Yeah, in the anime, this battle really could have gone faster if Ash used Pikachu. Samurai was completely shocked. This can't be! Whatever. This doesn't mean anything. You're still a complete novice. However, they heard a bunch of buzzing noises. As well, they got chased by a bunch of Beedrill, like in the canon. And well, Metapod goes in to protect Misty, but when he does, he gets a hole, but then evolves to Butterfree, which caused Misty to be in awe, as she commanded Butterfree to use sleep powder on all the Beedrill, which caused all of them to fall asleep. They then found the entrance of Pewter City, as Samurai simply said, "You're still a complete novice of a trainer. Your friend had the situation handled better than you did. Will you shut up? I'll be better than you. I'll tell you that much. You really are the runt, aren't you?" That Gary kid was right. Grr. We'll see what the events in the league said. That's where you said you'd be, correct? Indeed. And that is where we're gonna end this. How do you guys feel about how I'm portraying Ash? Sort of like yeah, so how do you all feel about how I'm portraying some of the characters? How do you feel about some of the characters I'm adding? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Until then, sign off.